When I think of Dadiji, an image of unlimited love, lightness, and inner joy comes in front of me. The way she used to read Murli in the class, the way she enjoyed organizing picnics for all of us and participating in those picnics, the way she inspired everyone to make efforts to reach the high level of purity, the way she welcomed everyone, whether coming from this part of the world or that part. In fact, her every word and action revealed her this personality of unlimited love, lightness, and natural joy. I recall that time when Dadiji used to come to the hall almost at the end of the morning class because of her health reasons, holding a rose flower in her hand and waving at the gathering of thousands. She slowly moved towards the periphery of the stage. She did not speak, but her eyes were full of divine love. She opened her arms as if to embrace everyone sitting in the gathering. And Dadi's pure, divine, and selfless love reached up to the last person sitting in the corner of the hall. Everyone's eyes became moist with love. Such was Dadi's love for every individual. Then Dadi was a leader in true sense of the word. She never ordered. She inspired everyone by her own example. She took interest in every small or big activity of the organization. She was interested in the life of every member of the organization. I am now going to talk about that time. It was in early 80s when Om Shanti Bhavan was being built. It was a matter of great joy for everyone that this building, this Bhavan, will be built with a big hall of 3,000 capacity. So many BK brothers were participating in the construction of this beautiful building. They were helping physically also a lot. And, one day what happened was as follows. It was the month of January, cold winter night, and a small dynamite was used to explode the very hard hill, as a result of which the whole road between Panda Bhavan and Om Shanti Bhavan was covered with big, big stones. And that road had to be cleared by morning. And all these stones were to be used for the construction of the Bhavan, for the construction of the building. So brothers had been working since morning and they were very tired. And now they had to remove all these stones from the road. So Dadi saw this from the window of her room. She could understand the situation instantly. She put on her cardigan, covered her head with a shawl, and came out. With that same pretty smile, she said to brothers, "My dear brothers, let us make a chain, and we will pass on these stones from one to another." So quickly that chain of brothers was made, and from Panda Bhavan till Om Shanti Bhavan. And Dadi started picking these stones, lifting these stones and passing it on to the person next to her and one to another. That way the work started. This act of Dadiji refilled the brothers with the new energy and the new enthusiasm. This hard work changed into a game, and everything that was to be done, it was done, it finished at the right time. Dadi was really a leader who led everyone. Her credo of the life was 3 words. It was like in Hindi, Nimit, Nirman, and Nirmalvani. Nimit means trusty, instrument. She was really a trustworthy instrument of God. She never considered herself to be a leader, a head of the organization. She always said that Shiv Baba, God, is Karan Karavan Har. He does everything. I am simply an instrument, nothing more than that. She was never arrogant. And this is why the second word, Nirman, humble. She was very, very humble. She met everyone, whosoever came to her, very humbly and very obedient to God's orders. And you can imagine such a huge organization, different kind of situations come, but Dadi never raised her voice. She never used harsh words, harsh tone. Even if the correction was to be given to somebody, she used very dignified words to maintain the dignity of the person. And that manner of Dadi encouraged everyone to transform themselves. So this is why I say that she was a true spiritual leader. And of course, she was called the president of the university. That when someone in the world, his words always come true, people use this expression that Goddess Saraswati resides on this one's tongue. But when I think of Dadiji, I think that not just Goddess Saraswati, but Goddess Lakshmi and Goddess Durga also resided on her tongue. Whatever Dadi said, it happened. It came true. Because it was said with a pure heart. And the pure wishes of a true heart are always fulfilled. I will give you 2 examples. It was again the 80s. In 1980, a plan was made by our administrative body to organize a grand program in Delhi in 1981. And this program was planned for 10 days. And it had to be, organized for 10 days. And this one program, actually, it was a combination of few programs. It was not one program. There was, in this program, 3 or 5 days international conference. Besides that, there was a peace procession where about 15,000 BKs participated. There were 15 tableaus. And then there was a huge fair with about 20 pavilions. And just imagine, 12,000 BKs came from different parts of India and some other countries in Delhi. They were all to be accommodated, and the arrangement for their food, transport, everything had to be done. In itself, it was a big task. Leave aside that program. And if you talk of resources, the resources were minimum, whether human resources or financial resources. So how this big task will be done? One day, Dadi, addressing the whole BK family, said, "Let every BK contribute 10 paisa each every day during the whole year to make this program a reality for the sake of this program." 10 paisa, now of course it is nothing, but even during those days, it was a little pocket money for little children. And therefore, it was not at all a burden for anyone to contribute this small amount of money every day. And everybody took it and they started contributing with those pure good wishes for the success of this program. And not only BKs contributed, but their friends and their relatives and their neighbors and their contacts all began to contribute because it was a very little amount. And so, what was the result? As it is said that the drops together make a lake, the same happened. These small drops of 10 paisa during the whole year by the whole BK family and their friends and relations was able to create the lake, the amount collected, and the program was organized and it went on very, very successfully. It was the first program of its own kind, such a huge program, which was organized in February 1981. On the same principle of cooperation of all, Dadi ji inspired to construct our second complex, Gyan Sarovar, the Academy for a Better World. Everybody cooperated. One more incident I would like to say here is that it was probably in late 90s when Dadi came in the morning class, and after the class, she said that today she had a special experience in early morning hours of meditation, which we call Amrit Vela, that programs should be organized in all the big cities of India with a gathering of 100,000 and more. And of course, some people applauded, but for the many, it was a question. Is it really possible? Where to gather 100,000 people? Which place? Which ground? How it will be organized? It seemed next to impossible. But Dadi said, and it happened. The programs were organized in Delhi, in Mumbai, in Calcutta, in Madras, in Ahmedabad, in many big cities of India, even with a gathering of 150,000. So this is what I would like to say, that when it is a pure wish of a true heart and a wise intellect, everything becomes a reality. Such was our Dadi. Then Dadi was a mother who knew her every child, appreciated everyone, valued everyone, and took care of everyone. Here I would like to tell you two stories connected to me. One is which happened in, it was probably the year 1986, International Year of Peace. We had an international conference in Mount Abu. It was afternoon time. Dadi was sitting with few guests in the courtyard of Panda Bhavan after lunchtime, and I was passing that way. Dadi called me and introduced me to the guests. Dadi also talked about my two sisters who are taking care of centers in Mumbai. Dadi said to the guests that Dadi need not worry about these three sisters at all. They are very pure and very strong, very powerful, very stable and determined and firm. Dadi trusts them fully. At that time, I, of course, did not understand what Dadi means to say by saying these words. I just smiled. I took leave from Dadi and the guests and went away. But after a few years passed, I realized the depth of these words. I understood that how important actually it is to keep our seniors free from worry in relation to ourselves. Like, parents, it's a matter of real joy for the parents when they see that their children are growing in such a way that they can stand on their own feet. And not only they can stand on their own feet, but they can even help others. So this is actually, I feel, is the real return of the efforts made by our seniors for our growth, for our development. It is the expression of real gratitude towards them. And in return, at the subtle level, you feel on yourself the shower of blessings. Another incident which I would like to relate is connected to Russia. Our activities began in Russia in 1989, and Dadiji visited Russia in 1992. Dadi's visit was for 10 days. When her visit finished and she had to go back to India, we were going to airport to see her off. So on the way, she asked me, Sudha, where would you like to live, in Delhi or in Russia? And Dadi knew me from my childhood. Probably she thought that maybe it is difficult for me to stay here. I don't know what she thought, but she asked me this question. And I looked at Dadiji and said, Dadiji, for me, it does not matter at all. Purpose of my life is to serve. Where? How does it matter? Here or there? Then Dadi looked at me, patted at my back and looked at me with such a loving drishti full of good wishes and blessings. So, Dadi, on one hand, she expressed her care and love. On the other hand, she was happy to see that, there is no limitation, that I don't keep any limits here or there. No, wherever. So I would like to say at the end that Dadi was really a jewel. Her name, Prakashmani, the jewel of light, tells about her personality. She was a real jewel of light, whose light of love and joy and peace and purity and happiness goes on spreading till today, far and wide, reaches every heart, and it will continue to do so, its service at the subtle level in the coming years too. With these words, I would like to say that I am a very fortunate soul to have known such a great soul, such a great personality. Thank you. Om Shanti.